Rodgers gets the snap. Blitz is on. Rodgers scrambles left, winds up Rainbow.
Cobb.
He's got Cobb at the 10 to the 5
Yes!
to the end zone. Touchdown and a dagger. Oh my goodness! An NFC North Division Championship dagger.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Packers Talk, the podcast dedicated to everything green and gold. I'm your host, Ethan Peltier. You can find me anywhere on Instagram, Twitter, or I guess it's now called X, or YouTube at Real Packers Talk. And I'm here today after a long hiatus, or a couple months at least, to, share some thoughts again. Hop back in. The regular season is right around the corner. We've got preseason games coming up. And, not a ton has happened since I last talked. I believe the last episode I put out was shortly after the draft. I was doing a little bit of a prospect profile. However, I do want to talk about the things that did happen, that being training camp. We had family night earlier this week, and I want to go ahead and take a quick look at this upcoming preseason game against Cincinnati. So as I've already mentioned, this is the first episode that I've been putting out ever since the draft. And part of the reason that I've been so slow to get back into the swing of things is I've actually just got done moving. I transferred schools. I'm still a college student, for those of you who don't know. And I'm, trying to get readjusted, get back into the swing of things, that sort of stuff. So I haven't been as consistent as I'd like to be. I'm hoping that once I've got a little bit better of an idea of what my school schedule and work schedule and those sorts of things look like, I'll be able to put out episodes on a weekly basis, hopefully multiple times a week. That's the goal, at least for right now. But I did want to give you guys just a quick life update, not that you needed it, but because you're here to hear me talk about football. So let's hop into that. To back up a little bit and start at the beginning of the offseason, obviously the big thing that happened was Aaron Rodgers got traded to the Jets, and we're kind of in this transition period where Jordan Love is now the starter, and there's a lot of discussion and debates amongst fans and people who aren't fans, just people on the outside looking in. Everyone's discussing and debating how good the Green Bay Packers are going to be with Jordan Love. That's something that I probably won't get into as far as expectations go. I won't get into that for a little bit. But I did want to start there. Aaron Rodgers gets traded. A couple of the veterans end up going with him, but for the most part, I would say that the core group, obviously minus Aaron Rodgers, the core group is still there. So I still think this is a good football team, and again, I'll kind of go into more detail about those sorts of things when I get into expectations. I plan on making a podcast dedicated to what to expect this season. But for right now, I'm just going to tell you that I genuinely have not, I haven't come to terms with this yet. I don't know exactly what to expect. So I still need a little bit of time to look at the roster, look at everything, and then decide, hey, how comfortable or how confident do we truly feel in this team? It is a very young team. This is the youngest team that the Packers have had in a very, very long time. With that comes obviously inexperience, but they are also one of the fastest, most athletic groups of athletes that the Packers have had in a good long while. So there's definitely upside on that side, or there's definitely upside there. But again, it comes with that caveat of, hey, they're inexperienced. They might have growing pains. All eyes have been on Jordan Love, obviously. That's going to be the big name that people are focusing on this offseason. And training camp has been, that started a couple weeks ago. Or excuse me, not a couple weeks ago. That started about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. All eyes have been on Love. And without overreacting, because that's the first and foremost thing that I want to say about all of this, is that it does us no good to overreact either way, whether it's praising Love and saying that he's going to be the next NFL, MVP level Hall of Famer quarterback in Green Bay, or on the flip side of that, saying that he's going to be a complete bust. We really don't know what we have yet, and that's fine. I've got a couple of notes here, and again, highlighted, underlined, with stars around it. Number one, don't overreact. Doesn't matter. We still don't know what we have. To kind of go off of that, though, last year, we had really big expectations for the defense because defense came out and balled out in the first couple of weeks of training camp. And then they ended up having a average to below average season, in my honest opinion. So, going off of that, the defense has looked really solid so far in training camp. They have won a majority of their competitive periods. I guess at the end of practices, Matt LaFleur has had the team, offense and defense, compete against each other. And I may have this number wrong, but I believe it was like 6 out of the 7 competitive periods that they've had so far, the defense won. So that's good. It's good to see that our defense is competing hard, and that, honestly, I kind of expected this. Having such a young, inexperienced offense is going to come with, like I said, those growing pains. And if you look on the defensive side of the ball, just count how many first-round picks there are. Just off the top of my head, without thinking about it too hard, Jair Alexander is a first-round pick. Rashawn Gary, he's hurt right now, but he's a first-round pick, and he will play when he's healthy. Kenny Clark, first-round pick. Eric Stokes, also hurt, but when he comes back, first-round pick. Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt. Like, these are all guys that were picked in the first round that are expected to come in and play at a high level. So it doesn't surprise me that defense has been dominating the offense thus far. And that's okay. I'm not, again, trying not to overreact. As far as the offense goes, and like I said, because Jordan Love is going to have so many eyes on him, he's going to be kind of the make or break player for this offense. I will tell you that I genuinely believe in this kid's ability. I think he can sling the ball. He's got a very strong arm, and he can make almost any throw. There's been a couple of videos that have come out from training camp. The Packers obviously they technically are not letting fans record practices, but some fans are recording it anyways and posting it on Twitter. And man, I'm telling you, there are some throws that I'm like, wow. That was an Aaron Rodgers-esque throw. Again, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but I genuinely believe that with the right time and pieces, Jordan Love can be a very dangerous player in the NFL. He has the talent, without a doubt. During this time, though, during this whole training camp and preseason process, more than anything, for a young team that has so many young players that haven't played, more than anything, it's important that these guys stay healthy. We're going to make progress each and every day, but you can't make progress if you're on the sideline watching. And that's kind of the big issue for, again, not to beat a dead horse already, but Jordan Love has not had that playing time. So when I say that we don't know what we have, it's because we literally have only seen him start in one game. Yes, he's come in, for example, during the Eagles game last year or during the Detroit game, and he's had flashes, but he's also been inconsistent. It's hard to really evaluate what we've got without having those real-time game reps. Moving on, another big point from training camp is the fact that we've had a little bit of an offensive line battle, specifically at the center position. I know that there are a lot of people who are not big on Josh Myers, and I'm always for, more competition coming in. One of the most important, or I guess one of the most interesting headlines coming from training camp this year is the fact that Zach Tom, I can't remember what round he was picked in last year, but one of our draft selections from the year previous, has been taking center reps. So that is something to keep an eye on moving forward. I expect Zach to get at least a few reps during the preseason. And who knows, maybe he ends up winning out that position. This could be, a completely different offensive line. My next point is this is a good opportunity for this team to have a fresh start. With Aaron Rodgers being gone, there's been a lot of... I've been hearing this expression or this phrase thrown about a bunch, which is, we're finally going to see the Matt LaFleur offense. What does that even mean? Because Matt LaFleur himself has said, hey, it's not my offense, it's our offense, it's always been our offense. He's going to say the right things because that's his job. He's the coach. He's not going to make it about himself. But from a fan's perspective, the amount of times that I saw Aaron Rodgers go up to the line, make a check, do his thing, and completely change the play, it's hard to tell, hey, how much of this is Aaron Rodgers running it and how much is it Matt LaFleur calling the plays, right? When I say that we are going to see the Matt LaFleur offense, I mean that we are going to see him call plays, and those plays probably aren't going to get changed at the line of scrimmage, at least not nearly as often by someone like Jordan Love. So I know there are a lot of people who are naysayers of Matt who say, oh, well, he's had a, Hall of Fame MVP level as quarterback to carry him for so long. Let's see how he does without that. And I'm all for it. Let's see what Matt's got. I still think he's a phenomenal coach, and I think that we're going to be just fine with him. Obviously, that's an optimistic way of looking at it, but it's truly how I feel. I think more than anything, it will be interesting to see just how different this offense operates. Like, are they going to run the ball more? Are they going to have fewer shot plays? I know one of the biggest gripes that fans had with Aaron Rodgers is he would never throw it over the middle. Well, that's because he didn't want to turn it over. Jordan Love, on the other hand, is young and is probably going to be more prone to make mistakes like throwing interceptions and whatnot. But he's also going to be, take those chances, ones that Aaron Rodgers probably wouldn't have, and that's okay. The last little note I have here for training camp, again, because I do want to make this kind of a brief episode, I wanted to talk about Family Night, which was this last Saturday at Lambeau. Family Night is an incredible event. If you haven't got the opportunity to go, I highly recommend that you do. It's an awesome time. But it sucks that we can't watch it televised. And I know that there are Packers fans all over the internet who have already expressed their concerns and frustrations with this. But the Packers operate in such an old-school fashioned way. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for it. I love the traditional style that Green Bay has stuck with. But man, the fact that they won't televise this practice because it, quote, gives other teams a competitive edge is just BS. That is not true. It's 2023. I guarantee you that if they wanted people to be there, like if other teams wanted to like scout the Packers at Family Night, they would do so. They wouldn't need you to televise it. For the love of God, can we please give the fans something? This is the greatest fan base in all of sports, and we are doing such a disservice to them by not giving them what they want. They want to watch these players practice. I mean, it's insane to me that 70,000 plus people showed up for practice. Practice. We're talking about practice, right? To quote Allen Iverson. But yeah, we had Family Night, and according to Andy Herman, who is personally one of my favorite Packers content creators and sports journalists, if you will, he basically summed it up in, this isn't verbatim, but more or less he said that it was a microcosm of training camp thus far. As far as Jordan Love went, he started off kind of slow, there were flashes, he's inconsistent, but the end of practice, he went, I believe, 4 for 4, ending on a touchdown to Christian Watson. So it's good to see that as the practice kind of went along, he was able to get more comfortable, and that's kind of something I expect as we're looking towards like the preseason and whatnot. I totally expect, or excuse me, like not just preseason but the regular season as well. Sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. But just in general, I expect this to be a slow starting team, and that it has nothing to do with other than the fact that they're young and inexperienced, and it's going to take them actual game reps to get into the swing of things. Speaking of preseason games, this is kind of the part that I've been waiting to get to. We finally got another preview coming up. I've been so excited to get to this. Green Bay is heading down to Cincinnati to play the Bengals, which is going to be a great test for them. I believe they're also going to be holding joint practices with them. That's also something that they're going to be doing with the Patriots next week, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when that rolls around. But yeah, Packers are going to do joint practices this week, and then on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, they are heading to Cincinnati, Paycor Stadium, to play the Bengals. I plan on attending this game. I'm super excited. The last time I was able to go to a Packers game was back in, I believe, 2016 when they went out to New England for a preseason game. So it's been a while since I've been able to go to an in-person event, and I am beyond excited. I can't wait. If you're there and you want to say hi, please reach out to me. I would love to talk to anyone, any and all of you. You know how I am. I'm very open about this kind of stuff. I will, because I'm going to be there in person. Obviously, I'm going to be there as a fan. I'm going to go and try and enjoy it as much as I can. But after the fact, it's all business. It's all work. I will rewatch the game if I can. At the very least, I'll watch the highlights and write down some notes and take a second look at it from the broadcast perspective. Something that I find interesting heading into this is, a question I have is how much are our starters going to play? Specifically, how much is Jordan Love going to play? Is he going to play a quarter? Is he going to play a couple drives? Is he going to play 2 quarters? I don't know what to expect. I hope he plays more than a quarter. I think that would be cool, but at the same time, I have no idea what to expect. In years previous, the Packers have been very conservative during the preseason. They haven't played their starters as much, and I understand that. They want to avoid injury as much as possible. But during the Matt LaFleur era, at least, I feel like this team has always come out week 1 and just looked slow or a step behind. They were rusty. They were, they weren't on their A game. So I wonder if the approach will change now that, it's a different team. But that's just something we'll have to keep an eye on. This is a really good opportunity for so many different players in so many different position groups to prove themselves. I don't think there are very many positions on this team that are absolute roster. Every single position has been taken up, right? There's competition everywhere, and that's what you want. Specifically, I'm thinking of receivers and our defensive line and those sorts of things. We have so many young, talented players who have yet to prove themselves on an NFL level, and here's their opportunity. Just to name one player, I'll probably go into a little bit more detail later before the actual season starts, but Malik Heath has caught a lot of eyes. He's going to be a player that I'm watching at this game, and I hope he balls out. I hope he gets an opportunity. Lastly, I just want to wrap it up with, if I'm going to just send something out into the universe and just, please, for the love of God, stay healthy. It's just preseason. Yes, it's important to get these reps in, but it's just preseason. Let's not overreact. Let's be excited that football, real football is around the corner. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves, right? With that, I am going to wrap this episode up. I'm so thankful and grateful for this opportunity to be able to share my voice and thoughts and opinions about this on the internet. Thank you to anyone who watches. Again, you can find me anywhere on Instagram or Twitter at Real Packers Talk. This podcast will be available on both YouTube and Spotify/Anchor. And yeah. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, morning, whatever it is. And with that, I'm signing off. As always, go Pack Go.